So let's go straight now to our man in the know, Dave Keating, who's in Brussels, of course, for France 24, who's followed this every twist and every turn and every dinner where they've sat down for substantive talks over a fine menu. Fish on the menu tonight, Dave. Fishing rights, one of the issues that is outstanding. What do we know for sure about what's been agreed going forward right now?
Basically, nothing's been agreed except that they're going to extend one last-ditch effort until Sunday. It really sounds like this dinner went very, very badly. Normally, after these talks, both the UK and EU side issue a joint statement. Tonight, we got two different statements that were frosty, to say the least. The UK side saying that the discussions were, quote, frank. The Commission side saying this discussion from Boris Johnson was, quote, lively and interesting, both saying that they remain far, far apart. It almost sounds like they are further apart after this dinner than when they started. Now, they have agreed to, basically they're saying they should make a decision by Sunday to pull the plug or not. Now, this may be because the UK side is hoping that Ursula von der Leyen tomorrow will go to the summit of prime ministers and presidents, EU prime ministers and presidents, happening here in Brussels, tell them what Boris Johnson said to her, and they're hoping that the EU leaders will decide to change their negotiating mandate in response, to remove their red lines, to give the Commission the authority to capitulate on those issues of fisheries and level playing field. I have to say this is an extremely unlikely outcome for tomorrow. So barring that development tomorrow, it is hard to see how they could possibly bridge this gap by Sunday. So I think that extension of a couple days is just to give this one last shot for the EU leaders to decide to capitulate tomorrow. But barring that, I do think we're heading to no deal.
Indeed, Boris Johnson saying that the future talks now lies with Brussels. Is that fair, or is that just him playing the political game?
Well, you could say it lies with either of them. I mean, either of them needs to capitulate in order to get this across the line, and neither side is willing to do so. I mean, it lies with him just as much as it lies with Brussels. Either side could end this and avoid the no-deal chaotic scenario unfolding in a couple weeks by capitulating on their red lines. But the EU has said no deal is better than a bad deal. They're very, very worried about setting a precedent for decades to come that the UK could undermine the EU by having access, tariff-free access to the EU single market while deregulating and giving itself a competitive advantage. If the EU were to agree that now, they would be locked into that for many years, and that just wouldn't be worth it. It would be better to have some short-term pain than to set themselves up for failure like that. On the UK side, many feel that to have a kind of arrangement where the EU has oversight or a retaliatory right against the UK's lawmaking will defeat the purpose of Brexit, and that this would make the UK into a client state. So the strength of feeling is very strong on both sides. And I think if you take the hardliners there on the UK side, they would really rather have a no-deal scenario than to accept that rulemaking oversight. That is really the big issue here. Fisheries, a compromise is reachable. I keep being told, yeah, they're far apart on fisheries, but if that was the only issue left, it would be solved by now. Fisheries is not the big picture problem here. The big picture is what exactly Brexit is supposed to be and what kind of access the UK can have to the EU market in the future. It's a fundamental question which was never resolved before the referendum, never resolved after the referendum, and that's why they're being held up here. It really is just the level playing field, and fisheries is just, it's a hard issue, but it would be solved were it not for this other one. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. It's not looking good.
Indeed, Dave, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Emmanuel Macron saying that fishing is one issue where Boris Johnson feels that he can actually make some political impact back in Britain and win at least a moral point in some way, shape or form. But as you say, as Dave Keating says, a completely bigger picture. The actual philosophy of what Brexit is and what the future relationship will or won't be is more key to why this isn't working right now. Dave, thank you very much indeed, as ever. Dave Keating, a correspondent there in Brussels.